What's up everyone, so I'm back with another video. Basically today I'm just going to be installing my fuel pump and trying to sort out the fuel line stuff that I want to do for the center return system. And I'll be doing that while John over here is working on getting the car ready for stitch welding and the rest of the cage. The easiest way to do this is to basically just heat up that plate that covers it. So there's a sealant under that you have to pry the plate off of to actually get to the fuel pump. Just like that. Okay, so I got the cartridge out that pretty much holds everything, including the fuel pump. I just took it away from the car because John's grinding and it's super loud. So I'm gonna go ahead and start taking this apart and show you guys how to actually install the fuel pump. So in order to pull the top off, there's this little retaining ring that sits on the ends of these posts that sit into it, and it basically blocks it from sliding out of the cartridge. So you just gotta take some pliers and pull that off, and then it's opened up to where you can actually get to where the fuel pump is in here. So next you wanna unplug the fuel pump, power and ground, from where it plugs into the actual harness to the car. So you can start pulling it away to unplug it from the actual fuel pump down here. So after that, where the fuel pump actually sits in, it's held on by these little clips on the outside of the cartridge, and you just pull those open with your fingers and then you can pull it out. And once this is out, you can see the filter and then the fuel pump tucked in there. You're going to open up these clips that hold it on and then pull the fuel pump out. These three clips and then these two on this little plastic piece, they're a little tricky to get off, but using a screwdriver, you can kind of wedge it in there and leave it and then work around to the next one so it stays off because they like to pop back on. But once you have that, you can pull this piece off, which is where the filter sits, and then you have your fuel pump. The fuel pump I'm going to be running is a Deatschwerks 300. I think it's 240 liters per hour or something like that, but it's plenty for what I'm doing with it, and eventually, if I do turbo this LS, it's gonna hold up fine. It's everything that I needed to do. So the fuel pump sits in the new filter, just like this. I just put it on really quick. So before you put the fuel pump in, you're gonna wanna use their supplied grease to lube up all the areas that are gonna actually touch the O-rings inside the fuel pump assembly. And now I'm basically just gonna drop it back in to where it sat before. So now that it's in, it sits just like this, pretty much in the OEM location. Now this is just gonna go ahead and sit right back in the housing. Just get some of the stuff out of the way. After that, you just plug in the wire and you pretty much put it back together just how it was in the OEM fashion. And there you have it, the new fuel pump is installed, and now all I gotta do is put it back in the car. So installing it again, it's pretty straightforward, but getting this rubber seal to seat back into the fuel tank is kind of a pain. So I'm just gonna go ahead and grease it up with the extra lube that they give you in the Deatschwerks box. Slid in a lot better. You just want to make sure to line up the blue arrow with the blue line, and then eventually when you screw this like cap on that holds everything together, make sure that blue line lines up with all the other ones too. All right, so we got the fuel pump installed. I'm gonna basically just cut the time lapse right now and start pulling out all the harness so I can start mocking it up at home. And John's also gonna be grinding, so it's gonna be really loud. If I try to talk, you won't be able to hear anything. But yeah, so I'm gonna cut the time lapse. So I just decided to not use any of that wiring, and I'm gonna go ahead and just wire everything on my own, because wiring up the body is a lot easier than trying to figure out what wire does what in that huge bundle. So back in the car now, I was able to finish putting the fuel pump in. I didn't want to start doing the fuel lines because John was about to start welding, and we didn't want fuel everywhere while he was welding because that would be bad. And but yeah, so I started like working on the wiring and stuff, and I kind of decided that I don't want to use any of the FRS wiring because it's gonna be a pain trying to keep it organized and figure out what does what, and making it work with the FRS ECU with how it uses CAN bus and everything. So I ended up just ripping it out like you just saw, and I'm gonna, sorry, someone just hit me, Jesus. But I'm gonna do my own wiring. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit easier and I can keep it more organized, and I've recently like gone to school for this stuff, so I have a pretty good idea of how I'm gonna be able to do it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions on anything, just go ahead and leave a comment or message me on Instagram. Either one, I don't care, I'll probably respond. And yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, leave a like if I did something wrong, and then tell me what I did wrong. And thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for next time.